Hey guys, it's Steven from KR Motorsports. Just wanted to give you guys an update on the Roadster. So we got it to the shop finally, got the tires on it. For those who are looking at the tread, yes, these are R888s. These are actually the only ones that I had that were like decent. So in this size, mind you, basically this is kind of like old stock here. I did find out the hard way that someone had changed my lug studs to American style lug studs, so we got those on the way coming. But what we're talking about today is the fuel pump. So if you guys remember, last time we were working on this thing, we basically found out that the fuel pump was mounted in a really poor spot, and it's not really that much better, right? So the original mounting spot by the previous owner, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see this, was in the no, I guess not. All right, well, I'd have to show y'all later, but they made a plate and they mounted it essentially right here, but further forward. So it was like attached to the frame rail, but in front of the wheel, or beside the wheel rather. And so anybody who knows anything about inline pumps is that the pump needs to be lower than the tank because they only push, so they don't pull. So meaning that you have to gravity feed the fuel to the pump and then push it forward. So another thing too is that this pump is, you know, it's only rated for like 10 PSI or so because it's on a carb application. So what we're going to do is two things today. Firstly, we're going to go over this. We're going to go over this really quick here. This is our inline pump here that we're going to replace it with. Obviously, we're going EFI. So this is what we're doing. We've got our inline fuel filter, so we're gonna have to swap this around though. So as you can see, flow is this way, and we have it set up this way. We're gonna actually have to put the filter on this other end here, so that way it can filter anything out in the tank and then go forward. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna test this pump. We're gonna see if this pump, it is a rotary vane, so it should be positive displacement, which means that it's going to pull and push. So we're going to test that theory out today to make sure that it does. And secondly, what we're going to do after that is we're going to poorly mount it. We're basically just going to stick it in where this one is for now, and we're going to check how much fuel pressure that it makes up front with our fuel pressure gauge. So if we can get this down with our aeromotive regulator down to the recommended like 3 PSI, then this pump will officially mount this pump, stick it in, and then the car will go on the dyno. If we cannot regulate it, we're going to take this pump back out, and then we're going to stick the old one back in, and then we'll set it on the dyno. Once we're ready for the EFI stuff, then we'll swap this over. So hopefully, if everything goes well today, two things. One, hopefully it will pull fuel, and then secondly, if it does pull fuel, is that we can regulate it down to 3 PSI. So I honestly don't think that it will, but who knows, it may. Let's check it out. All right, so this is our poorly set up test rig. This container down there is fuel. Obviously, you really want to use a approved fuel can, but I wasn't able to set all that up, but whatever. So we've got a power probe. If you guys don't know what this is, it's really cool. This little lead down here will give you ground, and this up here will give power or ground depending on what you need. So it's a really good test tool. We use this like all the time. So I put this in the worst state that it could be. Eventually, as you can see, the fuel level is down there. The pump is extremely high up on our little oil drain canister. So I mean, I'd reckon this is about 3 feet at least. So if it pulls from here, it'll pull from anywhere. Oh, yep. So definitely will pull from anywhere, so that's a good sign. All right, so that's the pump on. Fortunately enough, I had to do this off camera, but we were able to get the regulator down. It's fully removed though, like this is like all the way out, but we can get it to drop fuel pressure, so that's a big plus there. So once basically, let's go ahead and see if we can crank this sucker up real quick here. Oops, I don't know how much fuel is left in it. There we go. But so we got that there. So we're gonna work on actually mounting this sucker here, and then get everything all fitted up, and we can get rid of the old one. So yay for that. All right, guys, this is like the tentative setup. I'm not a very big fan of how I mounted everything, but it's Saturday. I'm not going to be able to get any AN fittings, and the ones that we have here aren't going to work. So this is good enough for now, though, to at least get the car off the lift and onto the dyno if need be. But yeah, we're gonna have to revisit this eventually. So right here is the feed line, and it runs up to the fuel filter here. So you can see that this is like really long. So I don't know how far up the leaf spring will go, but it's definitely not ideal. So I'm gonna have to order some fittings to move this stuff around here. I may just order like a 90 or a 180 to move the filter up and over out of the way, and that would make me feel a lot better. This little clamp deal right here is actually from Beachworks. This is what they sell you to mount these pumps. There's a little piece of rubber on the inside that lock it in place, and it's actually extremely sturdy, surprisingly. But again, kind of not a huge fan of how this is all set up right now. Previously, they had this little sheet metal plate here is what they had before, and they basically riveted it in like so, and then they mounted the pump to that, and that was okay, and I may redo it that way, but I don't know. I'm not really too sure at this point. What I do know is I need to order some different fittings to at least shorten this, is what I do know. Just got to figure out how to do so. The next thing that I didn't notice until now is this right here. So this hardline, which ends up right here, should have had like a beveled in, you know, to hold the hose in place, but that's broken. I don't know whether it was like corroded and it broke, or they're messing with it or broke, I don't know. So I just slid this further up, put the clamp on it, and this will be fine for now. The problem is, what I'm concerned about is that when we go EFI and we run, you know, 40, 50 pounds of pressure, I don't know if this is going to hold or not, and that's kind of a concern. Another thing too is that this hose is too short. I'll order another one Monday, and that way we can get it up out of the way, because right now it's, as you can see, it's pretty close to the tire. So this is, again, not ideal, but it'll work for now. I'll button up this wiring just really quickly, and then, like I said, that should be enough to get this car off the lift for Monday. One other thing that I noticed is that the water pump is leaking, unfortunately. So that's a little puddle of water right there, and I did some investigating off camera, but there's a little weep hole on the bottom of the water pump. You won't be able to see it from here, but it's leaking from the bottom of the water pump, unfortunately. So just a little bit of an update. This is good for now. We'll finalize the setup and clean it up a little bit, but like I said, this is just temporary to get the car off the lift if need be for Monday. So that's it for this one, guys.